Hello, and welcome to this quarter's Industry Weather Report for the Pool and Hot Tub Alliance. I'm Sky Hackworth of Industry Insights. Over the next few minutes, we are going to walk through some of the latest economic data that are affecting your industry. We're also going to show some of the latest results of the quarterly pulse survey and how the industry is feeling about things currently. Let's get started. We'll start off talking about consumer sentiment and looking at how that has varied recently. We reached a low point in May for the 50 plus year history of the survey. However, we've shown some signs of improvement here as there's possibly a resolution in Iran and some of the gas prices may be easing, and some overall economic data with the labor market has shown some signs of improvement. So we have seen some improvement. We're hoping that consumer sentiment continues to improve and climb over the summer and the rest of the year. Looking specifically at how respondents within the industry, within the pool and hot tub industry, have told us that they're feeling about the current state of the pool and hot tub industry, we see that builders in general are more positive than negative. There is a small cohort that told us that they're negative, feeling somewhat negative about the industry, but no one, in fact, none of our respondents told us that they are feeling very negative about the industry right now. Retailers tend to be more in line with the builders overall and a little bit more positive about the industry. And service providers continue to be very positive about the industry. And we have seen that very consistently over the past couple of years, that the service providers continue to feel very good about the state of things and related to what their future prospects look like as well. A lot of the economy story right now has been the strong employment, and we continue to see that. Unemployment remained at 4.3%. And in fact, we've received some really good news related to jobs being added and some of the pickup there and stability within the labor market. So that has been a real positive sign. For reference, anything below 4.5 is generally seen as essentially full employment. And that actually coincides here with there being more than one job opening currently listed per unemployed person. So we did cross that one mark. Barely, it's at 1.03, but still shows really good signs for the labor market. New home construction, however, has really fallen sharply here recently after a somewhat positive start to the year where we saw that crossing 25 into 26. We saw some real positive signs coming in with the interest rates and mortgage rates dropping. However, more recently, as the mortgage rates have increased and there's been more uncertainty and higher costs overall, we have seen new home construction fall sharply. And looking at inflation, monetary policy, if you look at the far right graph, you can see that that blue line jumps very sharply. That is the overall inflation rate. So we saw that jumped to 4.2%, which is well above the Fed's target of 2%. So that has been largely because of the energy costs, the gasoline prices, and other costs tied there. Once we remove food and energy costs, we see it's a little more stable, but still significantly elevated from where we'd like things. The Fed did hold their rates steady. However, as this graphic shows, there is a lot of concern about rising inflation. And so the University of Michigan, this is a graph from their site that shows that consumers are much more concerned about rising inflation than they are currently the unemployment. So the mandate there for the Fed would show us, and we can see from the dot plot and from what the Fed has been relaying to us, we can see that they are concerned about the inflation. And as they have those concerns, there is a larger and larger chance that they will actually increase the federal funds rate. So which would be a negative, and actually would increase the interest rates. So we'll continue to monitor that. We know that Kevin Warsh is not looking forward to that. So we'll just continue to keep an eye on what that might be. But currently, the odds are actually much stronger that there would be a rate increase versus a rate decrease. So, looking specifically at the top business challenges that businesses are facing. And so, this is industry specific, looking at the all respondents grouping. We see that the economy, just like we were speaking about, continues to be the main factor. And so, those factors such as inflation, consumer spending, 70% said that is one of their very top business challenges, followed by maintaining profits, which essentially goes hand in hand, and then recruiting and keeping their skilled employees. That item has fallen considerably in terms of being a top of mind challenge. And so, as we see the labor market stabilizing, we know that that'll continue to be a challenge, but hopefully will not be one that is restrictive for business growth or anything of that nature. So, looking at sales by product type, the new pool installations have been pretty balanced between those who have seen increases versus those who have seen decreases. And though, whereas we ended Q4 very strongly, we've seen a little bit of fall off, a little bit of slowdown here so far in 2026. Remodels, though, continue to be very strong, and we've actually seen some of the strongest growth, year over year growth in the study's history related to remodeling. So that's very much been a strong point for the industry. And hot tubs, swim spas, after seeing a very good finish to 2025, Q1 was pretty much a fall off where we saw more that had a decrease in sales of hot tubs, swim spas year over year than those who saw an increase. And looking at the year ahead by the three sectors, builders and remodelers, about 3/4 do expect 2026, or at least the next 12 months, to show some signs of growth for the industry. So they're optimistic that they will see some growth. We know a lot of that is coming from the remodel jobs, and but there is optimism within the builders and remodelers. Service providers are very optimistic. In fact, only 5% of them feel like there will be any decrease in sales, and a full 80% plus are expecting growth over the next 12 months. And the retailers, likewise, are very optimistic about the year ahead. So 90% are expecting some growth over the next 12 months, and only 10% are expecting any kind of decrease. So, just looking to summarize what we've seen, builders and remodelers, they've had somewhat of a mixed start to the year. We know that the remodel jobs are taking off, but some of the new pool installs are below what we were expecting for the year. But they remained optimistic about the year ahead. So they do see that better times, some growth is ahead. And so that's very encouraging. Service providers continue to be bullish about things and where things are and where things are headed. So they continue to see very strong growth. Their profits were also very strong. And so they held pretty much in lockstep with their revenue growth. And retailers, similarly, they see the state of the industry to be similar to how builders are seeing things, but they are very optimistic about sales ahead, and hopefully we'll see some revitalization with the hot tub sales and some upticks there as the year progresses. And as we close, I just want to take a minute to remind you about the various information sources that PHTA provides. We have the Business Operations Survey, which is a comprehensive report of the key indicators and metrics that most affect the industry. And specifically, we look at those by builders and remodelers, service professionals, and retailers. We also have the Quarterly Pulse Survey, which provides current trends and insights about how others in the industry are faring. And then we have the Market Intelligence Report, which includes some permits data, economic insights, and other statistics that are provided on a monthly basis to keep everything as current as possible. To learn about this information or more, please visit phta.org/research. And with that, I just want to thank you for watching.